Good afternoon. Let's try it again. Good afternoon. Yeah. Good afternoon, HMS and HSDM class of 2024. I cannot believe we're actually here for this white coat ceremony take two after the unbelievable year that we've just been through together. You did it. You are second years. Give yourselves a huge hand. For everyone watching on the live stream, let me introduce myself. I'm Ed Hundert, Dean for Medical Education. And I know that many of the folks on the live stream are parents and other loved ones who helped all of you seated here under the tent get to this point in your lives. So I really want to start this celebration by having all of you stand up and give everyone on the live stream a huge hand. Whether you have someone on live stream or not, they all deserve a big hand. I'm hoping that we'll use this occasion today to celebrate the transition from this crazy year we've just been through together to this coming year when you are going to be making one of the most important transitions of your educational and professional lives. One maybe provocative way to put it is that you'll be transitioning to an educational experience that is no longer organized around you, right? In the pre-clerkship phase of this curriculum, the classroom spaces, the schedules, the material you're being taught, it's all done, as it was in college and high school and everything before, with you, the students, in mind. But this next phase of your education and all the years going forward will rightly be designed with patients first in mind. The hospitals and medical and dental clinics are all set up with the patient, not you as a learner, at the center. And guess what? That's a very good thing for you, given what it is you're actually here to learn to do, which is to care for them. Now, earlier this week, a member of your class mentioned to me that they still remember that story that I told at your first white coat ceremony on Zoom. It was the story entitled The Rabbi's Gift. It's what's called a universal story, since a version of it appears in almost every one of the world's ancient traditions. And it was a story about the power of respect, both respect for others and also, sometimes much harder, respect for oneself. And I've heard a number of references to that story by members of your class over the years. So I want to open this unique, one-time only, white coat ceremony take two by sharing with you another one of these universal stories. This one is a story about caring, about helping others. And it's a story about a man who lived his whole life caring for others, helping others, making a positive difference in their lives, even when he didn't know them, even when he could expect nothing back in return. And when this man was very old, one night while he was sleeping, as the story goes, an angel was sent down. And the angel told the old man that for all he had done for his family and friends and neighbors and other people he hardly knew, that he was to be granted one wish, any wish he'd like to make. The old man thought about it, and realizing that he didn't have much time left on this earth, he began contemplating the future and answered that for his wish, he'd like to see what it's like in heaven and what it's like in hell. The angel smiled, said that his wish would be granted, took him by the hand, and immediately they were off through space and time until they arrived at this tremendous estate with lush gardens and beautiful trees, and soon they were at the center of the estate where there was a large mansion. They opened the door and walked through a beautifully decorated hallway, up a magnificent spiral staircase, and at the top of the staircase, they faced this set of huge double doors with gorgeous brasswork and ornate carvings. The two doors then opened, revealing a dining room. It was incredible, with this huge polished wooden table and beautiful artwork all around. And the table was covered with platters of delicious food that filled the old man's senses with the wonderful smell of a freshly cooked festive meal. And from where he stood just inside the doorway, he could see also people sitting in large, comfortable chairs all around the table. But the people he saw did not appear to be enjoying the food. In fact, they were all sat silently, looking sort of pale and pained and emaciated, almost as if they were starving to death, sitting right in front of the feast before them. The old man couldn't understand what was going on, but then he noticed that all the people had these heavy wooden sticks tied tightly to each of their arms, so that despite their hunger and the sumptuous banquet before them, they couldn't bend their elbows to get the food from the table to their mouths. And the angel said to the old man, "This is what it's like in hell." The old man nodded that he understood, and immediately they were again off through space and time, and soon they arrived at their next destination, which was also this tremendous estate with lush gardens and beautiful trees. Again, in the center of the estate, they found a mansion, and when the front doors opened, they entered this another beautifully decorated hallway, went up what appeared to be almost the same magnificent spiral staircase. At the top of the stairs, they again faced a set of huge ornate double doors, and as the doors opened, the old man was surprised to find a nearly identical dining room, incredible, with its polished wooden table covered with platters of delicious food. And again, there were people sitting all around the table, but this time they looked well fed and well nourished, and in fact, they were all laughing and talking and singing as they enjoyed the sumptuous feast. The old man looked at the people, and he saw that they too had heavy wooden sticks tied to each of their arms so that they also couldn't bend their elbows to get the food from the table to their mouths. But he saw that in this place, the people knew that simply by turning to the side, they could feed one another. And by doing so, they could enjoy the bounty that was provided for them. And the angel explained, "This is what it's like in heaven." "You see, old man," the angel went on, "most people don't realize that heaven and hell are exactly the same place, the very earth on which we live. The only difference between the two is that people like yourself, who during this time on this earth have found themselves in helping others, in reaching out, turning and sharing with others, caring for others, they bring to that identical circumstance the solution to the predicament that can make this earth a living hell, or can turn that hellish circumstance into joy, into healing, into prosperity." I think there's a special message in this story for us today, in light of all that we and medicine and this nation and the entire world have been through this past year and a half. And so, as we begin this year's white coat ceremony, I want to say to each of you, as you proceed into the clinical phases of your medical and dental education over the coming year, our aspiration for you is always, always to be not only dedicated students of the art and science of medicine, but also to be people who turn to reach out to help those in need. So not just this coming year, but throughout your careers, no matter how much medical science you learn, no matter how much professional success you enjoy, please, please never forget the old man's lesson. You know, last year during ITP, remember ITP? You composed a class oath that you recited at your first white coat ceremony. It was 1 year ago this week. And the first sentence of your oath, the oath of the class of 2024, said, and I quote, "We believe it is a distinct privilege to alleviate human suffering." We believe it is a distinct privilege to alleviate human suffering. Truer words were never written or spoken. In your interactions with patients and families who entrust their care to you, and equally in your interactions with one another and with all your colleagues. And I would add, in your interactions with all people, anywhere and everywhere. Always remember that only by turning to one another in the spirit of compassion and caring will we transform the crazy, sometimes hellish circumstance of modern medicine in this country and beyond, and transform it into the living heaven on earth that American medicine can and will become, thanks to the hard work and the compassion and the caring and dedication of each and every one of you. So I say give yourselves one more big round of applause. And now it is my distinct honor to introduce a great leader and a great role model for all of us, the Dean of Harvard Medical School, Dr. George Daly. Dean Daly is a graduate of HMS, a physician scientist and a hematologist oncologist who continues to lead a world-renowned research lab at Children's Hospital. He has been an incredible partner and champion of medical student education since he began his tenure as our dean in 2016. Please welcome to the podium Dean George Daly.
How does one follow a story like that? Ed, thank you very much for sharing that emotion and that wisdom with us. Well, I would like to extend my warmest welcome again to all of you, and especially to the many relatives and friends who are joining us via live stream. It would be so meaningful if they could be with us here. And sorry, we've been on an odyssey for the past year, and we are trying to do the best we can. And I think I'm just pleased that we are able to gather together. In person, on the quad. This is really quite extraordinary. We've been doing this now for the last week or so in different contexts, and it is meaningful. It's wonderful to see people again, even amidst all the challenges. Now, of course, it's not a dense gathering, as you can see, and it would be better if we could have our family and friends with us, but we're going to get through this. And we are going to have other opportunities as a community here to celebrate together in the future. I guarantee you that. But we're here to celebrate an important moment with all of you, the class of the medical school class, the dental school class, and it's really finally, it's been a long time coming. I know that you've all had some opportunity to see some patients. You've been wearing a white coat, but today is a meaningful tradition. I regret we couldn't do it in person, but let's redouble the dedication that this day represents. I know that we have many, many folks who have supported us here to make this day happen. I want to make sure that we all give a special thanks to those who have worked so hard to make this day possible. Now, a year ago, in the depths of the pandemic, I don't think we could have even imagined that we could gather here today. But we are here, and it is in great measure thanks to the very speedy development of 3 vaccines, very sometimes draconian but prudent health measures, and the painstaking work of scores of scientists and clinicians and healthcare workers who are indeed stewarding this country through one of the most serious public health crises of our time. And it's not over yet. We have so much more work to do. The variants and misinformation about vaccines continue to pose a very real threat. But we're in a different, and I hope for all of you, a more hopeful place than we were a year ago. Now, some of the people who have guided us over the last year and a half are the heroes that you may wish to emulate as you choose your own career paths in the coming years. No doubt you've noticed that several of the people on the front lines of our crisis are prominent Harvard Medical School faculty or alumni. To name just a few, there's Rochelle Walensky, the director of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. She is a Harvard Medical School professor of medicine. She is, until recently, the chief of the Infectious Disease Division at the Massachusetts General Hospital. She received her master's in public health right next door here at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. Another is Dan Baruch, who received his undergraduate and medical degrees from Harvard. He is the director of the Center for Virology and Vaccine Research at the Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, and he's the William Bosworth Castle Professor of Medicine at Harvard Medical School. Dan spearheaded the development of the single-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And Michael Springer, he's Associate Professor of Systems Biology here on the Quadrangle. He is the developer of the COVID testing program that, despite the fact that we have virtually 100% vaccination status amongst our medical students, will allow us to monitor the potential for breakthrough infections in our community. You will all be tested, as we will. Now, many, many more dozens of HMS faculty continue their work on COVID as part of the Massachusetts Consortium on Pathogen Readiness, MassCPR, which was convened here at Harvard Medical School to address both the immediate and the long-term implications of this and future pandemics. Now, starting medical school in the midst of this health crisis, one can say it has certainly been an invigorating way for you to begin your journey as physicians and dentists. But in fact, there's little that we could teach you that will be quite as instructive as the experience of this time. Now, while we will together enjoy the ceremonial white coat ceremony today, you've already completed a year at Harvard Medical School or Harvard School of Dental Medicine, and so I want to say congratulations. For each and every one of you, this passage to becoming a physician or a dentist will be, no doubt, a challenging one, and clearly it already has been. But I promise you, as Ed shared with you, it will be deeply rewarding because there is nothing more satisfying than to devote yourself to the good of others. Now, this last year has likely revealed deeper reserves of strength and perseverance and ingenuity than maybe you thought you had. Now, some of you started your classes, as I understand it, as far away as Taipei, Seoul, London, Paris, juggling time zones, sometimes starting your daily routine at the time when others were going to bed. And when you arrived here in Boston, then you had to navigate some very, very complex safety procedures just to be able to come on campus. But despite these struggles, you successfully completed your first years of medical and dental school, much of it online. Now, some of you extraordinarily have already made remarkable contributions, from assisting healthcare professionals in your hometowns with information about COVID and the COVID vaccines, to staffing suicide prevention hotlines, to serving as mentors for undergraduate students interested in applying to medical school. As the past year has shown, the world will need your skills, and the world will need your dedication, perhaps more now than ever before. Now, I hope that you will take inspiration from the legacy of those who have preceded you at Harvard Medical School. Think about John Franklin Enders, who received the Nobel Prize for culturing the polio virus, Harvey Cushing, the founding father of modern neurosurgery, neonatologist Mary Ellen Avery, who saved countless lives of premature babies when she discovered the cause and treatment for severe respiratory distress syndrome. Take inspiration from Alice Hamilton, Harvard Medical School's first female faculty member, who pioneered the field of occupational medicine, working tirelessly to protect workers from exposure to dangerous chemicals and compounds. and take inspiration from William Augustus Hinton, for whom we have named the Hinton Society. He was a groundbreaking bacteriologist who became the first African American to be promoted to the rank of professor at Harvard Medical School and all of Harvard University. I hope that their work inspires you. It inspires me every day. And let me tell you, the pioneers who transformed medicine here, they had their share of doubts too, but each was inspired by a particular problem. They applied themselves. They dreamed of solving medicine's most confounding mysteries, and they committed themselves to helping people and changing the world. And each of you today has the same drive, the same passion, the same dedication. And you have that skill and that talent too, and we're counting on you. Wherever you have come from, whether you realize it or not, you've already put down those special roots at Harvard that will last a lifetime. Think of the friends that you have made. You have proven that you belong here, and we know that you will accomplish great things. We believe you are at the best possible place to learn these skills and to build the relationships that will help you become leaders in your fields. Our community has already been enriched by you, and it means so much to us that you've brought your talents and your dreams here to Harvard Medical School. I can't wait to see all that you will accomplish. And on behalf of Harvard Medical School, on behalf of our faculty, our staff, our alumni, I welcome you officially 2.0, ceremonially 2.0, through this white coat ceremony to the medical and dental professions. Wear your white coats proudly. You've earned them, and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. I would now like to introduce you to the Dean of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine, Dr. Will Ginobili. Dean Ginobili assumed the role of HSDM last year. Imagine becoming the Dean of the Dental School in the middle of a once-in-a-century pandemic. Well, he is an educator. He is a leader in the field of periodontology and internationally recognized scholar in oral regenerative medicine, tissue engineering, and precision medicine. He's also an alumnus of HSDM with an advanced degree in periodontology and oral biology. Despite starting in a pandemic, he has brought incredible energy and positive sort of oomph to everything that we've been doing together. I really enjoy our partnership, and I'm thrilled to welcome Dean Ginobili to the podium.
Thank you so much, Ed. It's really so energizing to be here together with all of you. As George had mentioned, 2.0 for all of you, and having this opportunity to be together is really inspiring for me, starting in the midst of the pandemic. George mentioned I didn't start the pandemic, but really being a part of this and getting through this tough year for so many of you. So I'm really delighted to have the opportunity to welcome the class of dental and medical students to this white coat ceremony held in your honor. And I would also like to recognize the family and friends who are viewing this special event today via live stream. Last year at this time, we were hosting this ceremony via Zoom during much different circumstances. And so during this virtual ceremony, I was speaking to you from my home in Ann Arbor, and since then I had, at that time, had not moved to Boston. And so it's so wonderful to be here today with all of you in person now and on the quad. As a class, your initial start was like none other in the history of dental and medical school education. And so you've made history already. Probably not in the way you would have liked to or expected. And over the course of the last year, You have persevered through extremely difficult circumstances. And at HSDM, we are all grateful for your resilience. You've shown that you will be the kind of healthcare workers and providers who can face daunting challenges and conquer them. You will face so many other obstacles over the course of your career, difficult patients, complex procedures, and unclear decisions on how to provide the best course of care. So the white coat that you wear is not a superhero's cape. It won't spare you from making those hard decisions or earning the trust of your patients as their caregivers. And so as you don your white coat today, remember that it is an honor and a privilege to serve others. The white coat represents the trust we build with our patients, and it is not something automatic that comes with wearing it. And so as healthcare providers, we are fortunate to have individuals who entrust us to care for them with kindness, empathy, and with the knowledge to prevent and treat painful conditions and to address chronic disease. Today, as we continue to grapple with a global pandemic, great health disparities, and social injustice, this duty to our patients is more important than ever. So you've taken these early steps during your first year at Harvard to learn what it takes to become future doctors. And you've done it against a backdrop of a pandemic that has underscored the importance of public health and service to others. So you've gained valuable experience this year that will serve you well in your academic journey and in your future career. So I've had the privilege to meet with many of the dental students in the class of 2024 during my first year as dean, and you are passionate and determined individuals. And so on behalf of the HSDM community, I want you to know that we are all committed to your success, and we can't wait to see you at the school in the weeks to come when you make your transition as second-year students here. And I'm looking forward to following your progress over the course of your academic career and supporting your dreams. And I know that you will do great things, and congratulations and best wishes to all of you.
All right, and now it's white coat time. And so let me explain how this is going to work. This has all been worked out by your student council leaders. So, I've got Rory, Tyler, others right here to correct me if I get this wrong, because we're just following your instructions here. So we always say we learn more from you than you learn from us. So, correct me. I'm looking for feedback, right? So the goal is that 1 or 2 rows at a time, there'll be staff here indicating we'll go to this side, and you will line up in front of the ramp over here. And we have all of your society advisors here. We have all 5 society leaders, most of the society advisors who are here. I would also have to just note that we have Dr. Ron Arkey, who was the founding leader of the Peabody Society, who started the Peabody Society and was the leader of it for 3 decades, who just had his 92nd birthday, and who is, I like to say, the mentor's mentor has come out for your white coat ceremony, take 2. And what's going to happen is you're going to go over there and you're going to line up in front of the ramp. And then one of the faculty is going to come up to the top of the ramp with you. And when you're at the top of the ramp, you have Rosa, this is like on a talk show. She's like sort of like indicating where it is. You're going to come up to the top of the ramp, and Tyler is going to be there. And what you want to do is tell Tyler exactly how you want your name pronounced, because he's going to call your name. Now, you may assume he knows your name, but actually tell him how your name is pronounced the way you want it, because there are people out in cyberspace on the live stream who really want to capture this moment and get it right. The faculty member will then bring you over to this little spot here, and put the coat on you, and Rory will capture a photo. So look over at Rory. Rory does it all. He's also the team photographer today. And we'll know the ceremony is over when Tyler and Rory then go around and get their coat. Do you have someone to take your picture? Okay, excellent. Okay, you think of everything. All right. And then after you've got your coat and your photo, you're going to walk behind the podium and you're going to shake hands with the deans. Dean Daly and Ginobili will be over here. And then you're going to go down those steps and back to your seat. Meanwhile, the faculty member who coded you is going to go down these steps and come around and catch another student coming up. We got it? All right. We have a plan. All right. So why don't we get going? If the first row or two could head over to stage right over here. You might tag. Yeah. However you want to do it. And just to be really clear, when somebody comes up to get coded, everybody pay attention here. See, we do this without the benefit of a rehearsal. By the way, when you do graduation, we do this same thing. No rehearsing. We give you the instructions that day, so something to look forward to. When somebody is coming up to get their coat on here, the next student and faculty pair really want to already be at the top of the ramp, because the goal is to really move through. This could take 45 minutes, or it could take 3 hours, depending upon how much gap there is between people. So the goal is when somebody is over here getting their photo, the other group is ready to have the name set and go. All right, so everybody stay up to date. See, I didn't get it all. Have your coat draped on your arm when you're doing this part, because they're going to put the coat on you over here for the photo. So come up with your coat draped on your arm.
Bara Hijaz. Vineet Desai. Sapna Nath. Jenna Zhu. Dominic Schnabel. Madison Overby. Derek Williams. Brian Benitez. Julia Ha-young Cho. Abigail Kempf. Dahi Chung. EJ Kim. Nicole Kim. Gina Mary Chu. Alan Yang. Bethany Brumbaugh. Grant Rue. John Lee. Jimmy Wei. Nav Diol. Stefan Olsen. Ulysses Marquez Valenzuela. Shanzeh Tahir. Haley Winstead. Angela Mercurio. Brianna Wright. Duke Yao. Daniel Doe. David Xiang. Sal D'Addario. Koya Asada. Alexander Yearley. Daniela Lee. Jenny Sun. Trinity Russell. Roxana Hagigat. Jane Kielhoffner. Kathleen Eng. Lyra Valdez. Allison Mosier Mills. Haley Butler. Claire Russian. Crystal Song. Nereda Ramirez. Nicole Agaronik. Julia Duval. TJ Hazen. Andre Small. Shahan Sharif Razak. Jean Philo. Lexi Kurt. Zoe Kivilar. Sienna Lee. Erica Lynn Green. Hugh Shirley. Anna Roselle. Susan Gonzalez. Ethiopia Getachew. Megna Vagwala. Felicita Cooperwasser. Ruby Guo. Michaela Sandler. Chloe Zana. Abby Marshall. Lansing Sugita. Kelsey Biddle. Ruchit Patel. Shelby Wilkinson. Haley Novus. Gil Mukbater. Yuying Guo. Anand Chuka. Julia Foote. Micah Brager. Sula Ndusa Fetter. Stephanie Yang. Madeline Klein. Apurva Kanagenti. Andrea Garmia. Abby Amond. Nico Pooks. Taylor Zabel. Tasia Polisetti. Elizabeth Minton. Catherine Young. Haley Varnum. Anna Sophia Bagyurayev. Maya Messenger. Emily Neeson Strakos. Darika Srinivasan. Matthew Mitchell. Lisbeth Garcia. Jack Gannum. Noah Brady. Sebastian Begg. Case Brabham. Jack Ferreira. Andre Dempsey. Grace Kavanaugh. Lily Murfakre. Christy Zelios. John Donlin. Lynn Herr. Gina Liu. Labani Hawk. Raylan Shu. Andrew Chang. Sarah Cohen. Lindsay Pius. Sarah Blitz. Olivia Kahn-Bozell. Steven Stearns. Alex Farid. Amitai Miller. Ariel Isaacson. Isabella Coloci. Natalie Sadlak. Caroline Goldfarb. Katie Blanton. Bijal Rajput. Arushi Saini. Josue Chirinos. Vivian Ha. Luke He. Maud Jansen. Abigail McVicker. Joe Montesano. Drew Gupta. Maya Talakdar. Jesse Duggan. Jason Zhuang. Jamie Beck. Sherry Yang. Claire Quinlan. Bridget Bain. Nancy Liu. Edward Kong. Martha Longley. Michaela Flores. Amanda Erkey. Lara Alcavaj. Marianne Zhao. Arenze Chukwuwambata. Shosho Sophia Yang. Adrian Cassia. Samuel Zinga. Anji Misra. Sanjana Rane. William Zuoming Lee. Reena Goswami. Kate Tanna. Emily Schneider. Catherine Lee. Zuocho Zach Zhao. Bryce Starr. Charlie Chungwon Lee. Michael Persla. Daniel Kim. Maya Ben. Aisha Oshilata. Inam Sakina. Tarun Kamith. Michael Chen. Alele Ajir. Sheridan Ray. Eliana Marastica. Matthew Parsons. Peter Zhang. Cyrus Ayubsha. Ga-young Lee. Rohan Jha. Nate Watson. Kelsey Hebert. Brent Whiting. Kadria Hargett. Catherine Simpson. Gerardo Alvarez. Andrew Etheridge Amini. Josh Yang. Shaheen Saberi. Sheridan Dankwa. Daniel Gabriel. Tyler Warner. Peter Fulmer.
Tyler Lacomer. And our photographer extraordinaire, Rory Mather. Oh, nice save, Rory. So one more big round of applause and cheer for all of you. So before I introduce Dean Reed, I just wanted to offer my own word of thanks to everyone, really. To those that are still patiently watching at home after a couple of hours here with us. Thank you for all that you did to keep your loved ones, your students going for the past year. To all of you students, a huge thank you. Thank you for all you did, all your patience, all your perseverance to get here today and to move forward with your medical and dental careers. And really thank you for everyone who made this year possible. So I just wanted to really pause for just a couple seconds for all of you to think of someone that you're grateful for, someone that's helped you get through over this past year. And thanks to the faculty and advisors for putting the courses and advising together. Thanks for all the folks and staff in curriculum services, student affairs, and all the hospitals. Really thank you for security, for watching over us, for all our custodial services who are tirelessly cleaning after all of us to make sure that we're safe. So a big thank you, a round of applause to everyone. So after the ceremony, we ask you to just remain in your seats. We're going to take some pictures. We're going to do a weather check. Rick, good? All right, excellent. No rain. So we're going to take pictures outside. Sit tight. We'll call you up by group, by society, to take pictures behind us. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Andrea Reed, who will be making our closing remarks today. So Dean Reed has joined us as the Associate Dean for Student and Multicultural Affairs and the Director of the Office of Recruitment and Multicultural Affairs starting on July 1st of last year. So again, she's making her debut this week in person in front of all of you. So Dean Reed sat in your seats just a few years ago as an alumnus of Harvard Medical School and did her training at Mass General Hospital, both in internal medicine and GI. She is now back after a little bit of a hiatus, where she is the Director of Diversity and Faculty Development at the hospital's GI division. Her focus here at HMS focuses on the recruitment and support of medical students from groups historically underrepresented in medicine, students who identify as LGBTQ+, and those who are economically disadvantaged. So it's a pleasure to introduce actually one of my personal mentors when I was a med student here, Dr. Andrea Reed.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, class of 2024, for inviting me to provide closing remarks for your white coat ceremony. This must be a first. I'm giving closing remarks to the same class 2 years in a row. Last year at this event, I had been here for a month, but had no in-person contact with my new colleagues. and you were in your homes donning white coats that were mailed to you. Not exactly the dream, was it? During that first white coat ceremony, I used the acronym HMS to give you a call to action. I asked you to have each other's back, to make time for self-reflection, and to stand up. Those recommendations came from a good place, and I stand by them now. But I didn't know you. I didn't know your character, your drive, your resilience, or your heart. Then we had this incredible, complicated year together, which, as one of your classmates told me, has felt like 3 years in one. You have demonstrated resilience, adaptability, camaraderie, and most impressively, have found joy amid worldwide chaos. I have learned so much from you. I want now to update that HMS acronym based on my deep appreciation for your class and in recognition of your upcoming journey into the next phase of your medical and dental training. As you transition over the next few months, armed with your white coats, a lot of knowledge, passion, and possibly a little anxiety, I have 3 new recommendations for you. First of all, I encourage you to have a growth mindset. Now, anyone who has spent any time with me this year knows that this is my mantra. I did not invent this phrase, nor develop the science behind it, but I believe it to my core. For those of you not familiar with the work of Dr. Carol Dweck, she describes a fixed mindset where you believe that your talents, intellect, and possibilities are predetermined and immovable. Conversely, when you have a growth mindset, you believe that your intellect, skills, and talents are highly malleable, that challenges make you stronger, that effort is more important than innate ability, and that your reach must exceed your grasp. Our beliefs about our capabilities exert tremendous influence on how we learn and how we perform. I know that you all have a growth mindset in many areas because it's an absolute requirement for getting into and through medical and dental school. But there may be other areas in your lives where you quickly revert to a fixed mindset, especially when provoked by challenges. Well, the challenges are about to increase. We, your teachers, are going to ask you, often with little forewarning, to convert your Zoom room learning into clinical decision-making. We're going to ask you questions that you are unprepared to answer. We're going to expect enthusiastic participation in patient care when you're tired and insecure. And your patients are going to need for you to reassure them and inspire them when your own confidence is waning. The only way to thrive during this transition is to maintain and nourish a growth mindset. You must get even more comfortable living in the world of not yet. And that's difficult for high achievers to do. You may not feel confident yet. You don't know anything about dental medicine yet. You don't understand the kidney or the liver yet. I can help you with the latter one. You haven't figured out your research focus yet. You don't know how to have difficult conversations with patients and their families without crying yet. But you will get there. Your growth over the next year is going to be phenomenal. Nurture a growth mindset even when it feels like your progress is slow and uneven. Make my mantra your mantra. Now, the M stands for maintain the wonder and mind the relationships that got you here. I suspect that every person in this class applied to HMS or HSDM with a sense of awe and wonder about all that you would learn about the human body and disease. You anticipated great revelations in the classroom and ultimately in the clinical learning environments. Then came COVID-19 during your senior or gap year, and the world as you knew it changed in unfathomable ways. COVID-19 laid bare long-standing health inequities that this country has nurtured, not just tolerated. At the same time, racial and social inequities in our criminal justice and legislative systems have been exposed for the aggressive cancers that they are. These are not new issues, but they hit differently because of the juxtaposition with the global pandemic. Your class came into HMS and HSDM armed with wonder about medicine and dentistry, tempered with realism about our deep challenges as a nation and as institutions of higher learning. You have challenged us to live our missions more fully, to be institutions that embrace difficult conversations about our past and our present, and to use our resources and privilege to foster equity, inclusion, and justice here and outside of our walls. We thank you for the push for accountability. Don't let us off the hook. But please don't let the deep cares of the world, Harvard Medical School, or Harvard School of Dental Medicine diminish your awe about medicine or dentistry and your place within these disciplines. They are still noble professions, and you are our brightest hope. Even in the most challenging moments of your training, I hope you slow down, take a few slow, deep breaths, and remind yourself how you came to this place, enthusiastic, eager, and full of wonder. I promise you that a brief retreat into that mind space will give you strength, perspective, and courage. It's not enough, however, to maintain the wonder. You also need to mind your relationships. Most of you had people in your corner who buttressed your dreams, providing financial, emotional, psychological, or spiritual support along the way. Your families, partners, mentors, spiritual leaders, and friends are so excited for you, and they understand that your free time will be very limited as you transition later this year into the hospitals or into the dental school. The relentless pursuit of medical and dental knowledge can encourage us to be very self-centered and singularly focused, and a balanced life is an elusive goal for many. I would strongly suggest that you mind the relationships that got you here. Even in your limited free time, call your family and friends. Tell them about the roses and thorns in your day, and more importantly, ask them about theirs. Send a text to your favorite neighbor, teacher, or coach. Your outreach to them will brighten their day. It will also strengthen the bonds of support and connection that you need to sustain your career and your life outside of work. Your life's mission must include the never-ending pursuit of connectedness and balance. Start now. Mind your relationships. Finally, let's talk about S. Slow the spread. We've heard this phrase innumerable times over the last 18 months. Slow the spread of COVID-19 by socially distancing and wearing a mask. We've lived the last 18 months behind a screen, separated from each other to slow the spread. This effort to slow the spread of the COVID-19 plague was both effective and damaging for many of us. We've been more isolated and anxious. Our mental health has suffered. As a nation, we've struggled to show that we care about others. We've developed deep suspicions about motives and processes. I now encourage you to slow the spread, not of COVID-19, although I know that you have done your part. I want you to slow the spread of individualism and isolation. Slow the spread of selfishness and pessimism. Slow the spread of ideological trenches. How can you do this? You can shun the mask, not the physical mask that's done its job very well. I encourage you to come from behind that emotional mask that is destructive to our collective growth. Shun the mask that protects your vulnerability but prohibits connection. Bring your entire self to the rest of your training. Now, I've been thinking about this a great deal throughout this year, my first as director of the Office of Recruitment and Multicultural Affairs. We encourage our students to bring their entire selves to HMS and HSDM. But we also recognize that this is a risky proposition, and we must build and sustain the infrastructure and support that allows our students to feel comfortable doing so. And we cannot ask our students what we will not do ourselves. Lay down the mask. Tell your fellow students how you feel, what you think, your hopes for the future, and your insecurities. Find safe harbor amongst your colleagues and your teachers, and become a safe harbor for someone who you might not befriend in other settings. None of us can stop the spread of individualism, suspicion, and isolation. We're not that powerful, even if we are that idealistic. But we can slow it by refusing to wear an emotional mask. As I close, I want you to know that I am thankful for your example this year. Wear your white coat proudly, knowing that you have earned it. As you progress to this next phase of your medical or dental training, have a growth mindset. Maintain the wonder and mind the relationships that got you here. And please, slow the spread. Thank you.